Do you ever wonder how the top experts and coaches in the entire industry are able to always do these one-to-many selling presentations where they're closing hundreds, 200s, thousands of people in one room? And if you think about this, this is one of the most traditional marketing strategies that's ever existed. It's been around since marketing has existed, where you take a group of people who could potentially be interested in your offer, and then you as an authority go in front of those people and you speak and you do a sales presentation where you get them to transform into the person who believes and is confident that working with you is the next best step that they should take. You think that everything is about closing the deal, go make as much money as possible. And that's all everyone talks about. But that is exactly why you're not able to close and create the transformation in the room, because you're not thinking about transforming people. You're just thinking about your pockets. But when you understand what a sales presentation is for and how to actually leverage it, money will no longer be a concern for you or your business or your family for the rest of your lives. Because when you're able to develop this skill set of being able to get a group of people in one space and convert them into a type of person that is ready to invest and move forward and work with you, you now have a skill set where you're set for life. Now you understand what freedom looks like. And in today's age, this is such a powerful skill because now you can do things virtually. So in the past, you used to have to do these things in person or maybe even a phone call and not be able to even show your face when you do it. But when you understand how to do this, you can do it virtually on Zoom, which means a lot of people can access this sales presentation to hear you speak, and they don't even have to leave their homes anymore. Now, this is why this is one of the most important skill sets that you should have as a business owner, because once you understand this, then getting customers will no longer ever be a concern that you need. I mean, even Apple has been running this type of strategy forever when they run their annual Apple events, right, where they're showing their products. These are all sales presentations that are intentional to convert you into a customer, and they convert you into a person who's ready to invest and then ready to spend money. Now, the goal is transformation. One of the biggest issues that I see with most experts is when it comes to their webinar or their sales presentation, they literally just try to teach. I learned this from my mentor, Elijah Boyd. When you just teach, all you're doing is convincing that person that they're able to go get these results without you, which could be the case to some extent. But the reality is, you know that the information that you provide in one setting, one webinar or a 5-day challenge or even an in-person event, you know that that's not enough to get people a full transformation. There's other things that's going to happen. And so when you just educate people and just give them just the process, if they aren't the individual that can take advantage of that process, then that means your sales presentation has completely failed. It's easy to teach a principle to somebody, but what does it look like to transform that person? And what I'm going to show you in this quick YouTube video is just a breakdown of how do you actually present your sales presentation. We work with a ton of experts in the industry, and when we come in and we evaluate their sales presentations, one of the first things that we notice is that most people overteach. You might be wondering, well, aren't I supposed to just give away as much value as possible? You can give away value without just giving away your processes. It's actually more valuable for an individual for you to actually show them principles and help them transform into the individual that can leverage the processes, because this is going to be something that helps them in pretty much most areas of their life if you do this the right way. Now, I'm going to break down a simple 4-step process that's going to allow you to understand the exact flow, the exact sequence of events that you should be mentioning when it comes to your sales presentation. All right, so let's get started, family. We're going to break this down into 4 key areas. Let's go. All right, so there's going to be 4 key areas. The first one we call sympathize. And then after we sympathize, the next step is going to be to destroy. After we destroy, the next step is then going to be to rebuild. And then after we rebuild, the next step is going to be to pitch. Now, these are going to be the 4 areas that we want to touch on when it comes to any sales presentation. And this is the exact order that we like to go in. And if we break down our sales presentation this way, it's going to make sure that we stay on course and we're following a guide that's intended to take someone who doesn't know who we are and transform them into the individual that we need them to be to take our offer. And then we offer the opportunity for them to actually want to buy from us, right? What happens most of the time is most people just go into rebuild and then they pitch, and they haven't really transformed the person the way that they're supposed to. So let me walk through each one of these areas. So the first one is going to be sympathize. So when I say sympathize, this is you relating to the individuals who are in the room to make them feel like they are in the right room. So many people just come in and they just jump in and start teaching, or they start introducing themselves, but they don't let the people in the room feel seen or feel felt. The thing that we have to realize is most people are emotional beings, which means that they are going to relate more to emotional connection than just teaching or just wanting to get all your sauce. And so when someone first enters your room, the first 10 to 15 minutes of it really needs to be you actually relating with that individual and really talking about the situation that they're in and making them feel like they can say, wow, they are talking to me. Wow, I am in the right room. And the best way that my mentor likes to break this down is he says, this is when you get someone to lean in. So if I'm presenting and I'm saying stuff that they really relate to, they start to lean in a little bit and say, wow, I'm listening. I'm here. And so this is one of the most important parts of the presentation, is because if you don't set the tone at the beginning and they never create that type of relevance with you or that relationship with you at the beginning, everything else that you say is voided, right? Because you just sound like anybody else and you're not really connecting with me better than anybody else who's been out there. So sympathize is the first step. The next part is going to be destroy. Now, no one does this. So after I make them feel seen, I help them understand that they're in the right room. The next thing that I have to do is destroy the limiting beliefs that they currently have that is preventing them from taking that next step. I'll give you guys an example. So we work with a few people who are in the credit industry. The way that they will sympathize is they'll come in and talk about what does it feel like to be denied for a house when you're trying to like just do something to put your family in a better position and you're applying for a home and you can't, or you're trying to just get a car so that way you can get a job to take care of your family, and when you go to apply for this car, they're hitting you with 25-30% interest rates and you're getting ripped off, so you're forced to deal with it. Like, you see how you're really talking to this person now. And then when it comes to destroy, right, if I'm showing someone that they can use credit to be able to build wealth, if they have been taught their entire lives that credit is bad and that money is the rule of all evil, and you come in and you're trying to teach your credit and funding strategies, if they have that thought from what mama has been teaching them their entire lives, no matter what strategy you give, they're never going to be the person who actually takes advantage of it. So when we talk about destroy, what we want to do is think of what is blocking them from actually getting the results that they want. Everyone is experiencing. Honestly, most people who have not gone through your program, they're there because they're holding on to current beliefs that is preventing them from stepping into that new light. And so the next part of the presentation that we like to focus on is, how do I destroy those limiting beliefs? And so what I'll do is I will literally think of every single thing that they have learned in this industry that contradicts with the way that things really are. A lot of times people will come to us for systems, and when they come to us for systems, they just think of, what funnel do I need? What's the funnel? What's the funnel I need? And they literally spend every year in their business jumping from funnel to funnel to funnel. And so one of the things that we have to show people is like, hey, like, you getting a funnel is not going to solve the issues that you have with your business. We have to destroy the belief that this funnel works better than this funnel works better than this funnel. In reality, all marketing strategies work. And so for someone to be focused on just jumping from strategy to strategy prevents them from being able to get results. And so we have to destroy the current belief that a lot of people carry, which is, I need to go find a magic funnel for this to work. And so destroying their current belief system is very important, because if they hold on to these beliefs when I introduce my process or my secret sauce, and they're holding on to these beliefs that are blocking them from actually understanding and taking advantage of it, then I'm basically wasting both of our times. And now that we get to this point, now we can actually rebuild. So when I say rebuild, this is the standard webinar stuff that most of us know, which is talking about, here's my 3 secrets. Here's my 3-step process. Here's a checklist on everything that you need in order to get X, Y, and Z. So when you're actually introducing and you're doing your teaching, it's taking place here. Before, most people just come in and they start teaching, hey, welcome to my webinar. Here's who I am, and here's my 3 secrets. That's not going to convert a room. That's not going to move anybody forward. I get them to understand that they're in the right room, get them to lean in. They understand me, right? I understand them. Because I went through sympathize and I destroyed their current beliefs first, now I can actually rebuild and introduce my strategy and my philosophy that's expected to get them results. Now they understand my process. They believe my process because nothing is blocking them from not believing my process. Now I have the opportunity to actually pitch my offer. And this is when I introduce the opportunity to work with me for the foreseeable future, however long my program is. Now I'm in a better position to get this person to move forward through the process, simply because I took them through a formula that's actually proven to work. And I want you to think about this. Next time you go, let's say, to church, next time you go listen to a keynote speech, you will likely realize that they are going through the same process. They usually start off with some type of story that you can also relate to. They end up calling out a lot of the fluff and the noise and the things that aren't really true that most people believe are true. And then they introduce their principle. Then they introduce the stuff that they actually want to teach. And then typically there's a pitch at the end of whatever someone does, rather it's to follow them, rather it's to connect with them, rather it's to actually buy from them, whatever the case may be. Everyone follows this type of process. And so this is a super, super important process, family, that's going to completely change the way that you do your sales presentations. And so if you're someone right now who's actively running webinars or challenges, I strongly suggest for you to go through and make sure you hit the checkpoints as far as this process. And if you aren't, make the change, because when you do, you start to be able to get results like our clients are seeing when we help them and we transform their sales presentation to be more fitting to not just teach, but to actually get people to buy your offer that you're offering to those individuals. Now, if you're someone and you want hands-on support, you want us to actually come in and plug these systems into your business the same way that we did for our clients that we've helped generate more than 8 figures in sales for, specifically with sales events. We currently manage about 4 to 5 sales events per month. A lot of those are hitting at least 6 figures. Some sales events are hitting 7 figures. And so if you want our support, there's going to be a link down below in the description that's going to provide an opportunity to work with us, or maybe even to join one of our classes, whatever we have going on right there. So if you are someone that enjoys this, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you check out that link below, and make sure you share this with someone else who's also looking to run webinars or run live sales events to be able to sell more of their offer. So I appreciate you, family. Thanks for tapping in. I'll see you on the next training.